Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Jhaverchand and in this video we shall discuss current affairs and Gazette for 9th of March 2022. Welcome to all the participants. Thank you for writing these brilliant inputs. 3 questions and attempted within a short frame of time. Thank you for this. And of course also disciplined. Hi Amlan, Netra, Kriti, Babani, Kim, Mithun, Kanupriya, Nishtha, welcome. Hi Hima. I think the upload of Gazette must have begun right now. Even I wasn't aware it was not happening. All right, but the document is there with me as well. You can see this in the background. Good evening, Ashish. Hi, Pooja. All right, thank you for attempting these 3 questions. One of the questions, the last one was related to insurance scheme. We have covered a feature news on this. So dare not mention not the important points, right? We have one update on insurance, but then a complete feature news on insurance was there. So I'll be checking the answers if you have the same level of depth or not. Hi Vivek, good evening to you. All right. Spending so much of time and after that not being able to attempt that question, that theme religiously, that is not justified. Not justified on your time's part. Therefore, what's important is that you people attempt the questions generously with some thoughtfulness. I am able to see some very good inputs on the local case studies. See, that's the intelligent part here. If some of you are from Gujarat or somebody is from Kashmir and somebody from Kerala and Uttar Pradesh or Assam, you people are also giving inputs on the cases of those places. Regional cases, probably far different from what we are speaking of, but then still relevant. So keep noting them as well. All right, so let's begin this. Hi Tiasha, good evening, welcome. So let's start this discussion. What do we have today? We have, before the discussion, some updates. All right. So there's something called as misnomer and something called as, flawed expectations from the examination. This is just a meme, but then UPSC interview be like, what's your hobby? Listening songs. And then the interviewer asks, chal chhaiya chhaiya song mein kitni baar chhaiya chhaiya aata hai, right? This is just for, conversation discussion purposes, but then UPSC interview is not of this sort. Even if you're not able to reply to a question, that is totally fine because your knowledge was already checked in the main examination and in the pre-examination, right? So this is only about understanding the personality, character traits of the person in a limited time, and this is what UPSC gauges in the interview, right? When young aspirant sees UPSC prelims paper for the first time, ye sab kya hai, right? And then about ethics. ये सिविल सर्विसेज है, यहाँ पर एथिक्स वाले पेपर में भी रट्टा मारना पड़ता है. One has to mug up. That is absolutely true, right? Notwithstanding the ethical standards that we follow, we must follow what is to be written in the answer, right? This is what will make you clear the examination. Of course, if we are ethical, that is the advantage that we all have, right? So that is an important thing, but just to be taken in the light spirit, right? Now, this is something that I definitely was a part of. After your shadi is fixed, no, not shadi fixing, but then I definitely would ask people, polity में कुछ doubt हो तो मैं पढ़ा दूंगा. Yes, who has done this? Who is smiling here? And then UPSC says to an aspirant who has decided to prepare for UPSC, आ जाओ बेटा, तेरी जवानी उतारता हूँ. Right? I have spent 9+ years in the preparation. All right, so beginning, but yes, before that there was an important aspect of Women Day that I wanted to share with you. I couldn't look, get back to this particular slide. This is not to be taken in the pure religious context, but this is an important sentimental thing that one must understand, and one can actually utilize this as a very important point. We pray goddesses, so many of the goddesses. In fact, Ma Durga herself, if you are a student of sociology, you would know that we don't know if the gods exist, any of the religion, or the gods exist or not. But then we actually know that the weapons that goddesses or gods carry, or their body structure, anything what they wear, it is symbolic in nature, right? So when goddess Durga has got these many weapons or a flower in her hand, it is symbolic in nature. Example, if she has got a bow and arrow, this is symbolic of the sharpness, the energy that the bow and arrow carry, the energy that is focused to a particular point. Sadhvi, sadhana. right? Sadhana. So bow and arrow indicate that. Similarly, if there is a sword, it is not just that goddess Durga is there to protect each of us. Yes, it is one of our symbols to protect people, to protect the integrity, to protect and calmness, composure, strength. She signifies that. But then each of these symbols are indicative. Lotus itself is a symbol of awakening of spiritual consciousness, right? The point I'm saying is, when these are the symbols that we reflect of goddess Durga, for example, the bow and arrow is for symbol of energy, when the sword reflects the power, the sharpness of intellect, not only sharpness of the sword, but the intellect itself. When she carries a disc, chakra, that means the whole world revolves around her. If this is the such a holy significance that we attach and we pray them, why are we not able to translate it to our usual lives? This is a good thing that one can talk about, not hurting anybody's sentiments in religion, but this is something which is very thought-provoking for all of us, and this is equally applicable to all the religions, right? Let me give you another example. When we look at one of the holiest sites in the whole world, one of the holiest sites, Bethlehem. Bethlehem being the place, an important place for Christians, birth of Jesus, Islam, Jews. This is one of the places where we've got a tank factory in Israel, right? So symbol of peace along with symbol of destruction, right? Look at the advanced world. We speak of advanced world, but then women had to fight for their rights, and India relatively was easier for people, for women, because relatively in political regards, only in political regards, where women got the right to vote, adult franchise, at par with many of the modern worlds. But those worlds were modernized in the earlier 20th century itself. Even then, they did not provide these rights. So this kind of disparity does exist everywhere, right? When we have goddess Saraswati, we pray her for knowledge and wisdom, right? Goddess Saraswati. Yet, if you look at the literacy rate of females in India, it is lesser than males. If you look at the economy, goddess Lakshmi is prayed, but then the level of economy, asset management of female is far lesser than that of male, right? So this is indicative of the duality that our own self goes through, right? Not hurting anybody else's feelings here, just indicating of some things around the world. And similarly, if you have examples, present those examples, but then without hurting anybody else's sentiments. All right. So let's begin this discussion. Today we have three important updates. One on stagflation due to soaring oil prices. Not only oil prices, lot of supply chain disruptions and stagflation because of this, possibility of that in India and around the world as well. Second one is an important update on building construction environment management regulations 2022. So these regulations are specific to construction sites where new construction is happening or update revamping is happening and the area is more than a specific limit. That is why I had posed a specific question on what could be more ecological friendly way of construction. We will understand some of them here. The third is an update on health insurance scheme Jan Arogya Yojana and how government mandates to make the payments more streamlined. Update. This day in history is on Rashtra Shire, right? Who's also called as, whose actual name is Jhaverchand Kalidas Meghani from Gujarat. We will understand more about him in this day of history. Featured news on changing nature of warfare. We will understand not only information warfare, but warfare in multiple regards: strategic warfare, biological warfare, economic warfare, cyber warfare in multiple regards. We will understand in context of India, in context of all the countries around the world, with some data, statistics, and a lot of proof. Image of the day on Pal-Dadhvav massacre. I don't know if you have heard of it, but then it was a significant part of 2022 Republic Day tableau also. We will understand what this was about, and this is also completing 100 years of its event. Terms and concepts: side channel attacks, Boltzmann medal, SAMARTH Initiative, Nizamuddin Markaz. Editorials of the day on three important topics. One of them is on uncertainties because of Ukraine war around Europe. The second one is on women in film industry, and the third one is on arms control and nuclear threat, especially in Asia. The case study is on biker safety. Two parents indulge in ensuring safe environment for the people around the whole country. Beautiful case study, empathetic. Let's understand this. All right. Ashish says, Amlan does it. He teaches current affairs. What does he do? Yes, sir. Oil prices can lead to stagflation. See, he's saying that. I think Amlan is our Rajnikant, because as unemployment is high in the country along with rises in prices. Yes. All right. Good. Amazing. Oh, I got you. You were speaking in reference of the meme. Okay, let's begin this. All right, so let's begin this conversation. The first update is on stagflation due to soaring prices. Before we get into this, let me give you some conversation starter of what we are going to understand here. Too many slides. Yeah, this one. I had showed you this particular image. This was a cutout from the newspaper itself. Not today's, a few days back. Now the prices have even gone higher, right? That time I was speaking of $100 plus per barrel. Now the prices have touched almost, yesterday, it had almost touched $139, $140 per barrel. And more the prices of oil, more the prices of commodities in the market. And we are not just talking of, the present market. This is futures market, future trading. There's an expectation that the prices of oil per barrel will touch almost $200 per barrel. This price is unsustainable, completely unsustainable. 140. We are importing more than 80% of our petroleum products from countries around the world, and we've taken loans for that, right? I have shown this to you repeatedly. You must memorize this part. This part must be memorized, right? Our expenditure is 40 lakh crore. Our earnings are 20. Our loans are to the tune of 14 lakh crore, borrowings and liabilities, and especially contributing to, where is it, on capital account? Can somebody tell me what were our borrowings? Capital receipts, recovery of loans, all right, total receipts, total expenditure, revenue, interest payment. I don't know if it is visible to you. Now have a look. Can you tell me what is the amount here? Our expenditures is to the tune of 40 lakh crore. On the other hand, what we receive is 22 lakh crore. 18 lakh crore is something that we have to recover. And amongst that, our total borrowings, yes, total borrowings and liabilities is 17 lakh crore. Imagine this, close to this amount. And over and above, the borrowings will increase in case the oil prices, they increase. Kindly remember this, right? This is very important, where you can put this with proof, right? Not to the single digits, but at least to the lakh of crores you can put this, right? And this is today's newspaper itself. Impact of war on major commodity prices. Gold prices, of course, rise during these times because gold is a very safe asset. When people are not able to invest in the stocks in the investment market, they come to gold investment. So gold prices have soared up 55,000 rupees, more than 55,000 rupees for 10 gram of gold. And then copper, agriculture index, base metal, zinc, aluminium, palladium, crude oil. Oh my God, 21% increase only in a very short, only since 24 Feb. Imagine, just a couple of weeks, and this is the price rise that we have seen. 21% in oil, and at least 10% in some of the particular metals, right? Now you would say that the demand has not been proportional. Why has the prices risen? The primary reason is because the market looks at the future perspective, not just from today's perspective, and that is the reason that we see high inflation prices, right? You should also be able to look at the inflation that is happening in our country, right? October 2021 and then 22, over 6% CPI, and we have had wholesale price index already soaring above 12%, right? So you can well imagine what is the situation. This is common man, right? This is the consumer price index, the inflation that we feel at our homes. Over 6%, that means RBI must be warned about it. And wholesale price index is a different index. We have done the comparison. What is the reason for this kind of difference? See, wholesale prices will first get impacted if there is a price rise of the input commodities at the factories. Oil is an input commodity, but petroleum is also a commodity which is used at not only factory levels, petroleum products, but also in transits, in tourism, in transit sector, in many other sectors which are between wholesale price and consumer price. This will actually lead to consumer price index inflation as well. This is bound to happen, and for the same reason we have seen that many of the markets have started to take out finances and money from India's market as well, right? How will we be able to pay then? We will have to take more loans. I had explained that our total exports will be above $600 billion, right? Just because our rupee is depreciating, just because the dollar is appreciating, just because the prices of oil have gone up, petroleum have gone up. So this is the reason that we are seeing inflation. And we were already going through something called as jobless growth. Now, so stagnation in economy and inflation as well. And growth also was happening, but now growth has also stagnated. We have started to see that growth parameters also, earlier 9% and then 8% growth. This is what we have seen. And this is also growth which is only lopsided in particular sectors, right? So stagnation and inflation alongside stagflation. Look at more examples. This is edible oil imports in our country, right? Look at the kind of import and total prices that we have had to pay for oil. 1.5 lakh crores, my dear friends, 1.5 lakh crores. Not that the government pays for it, we also pay for it. But then, and look at these sources: sunflower, soybean, palm oil. We import more than 50% of our oil imports. I am talking of mineral oil for food products, right? So the samosas and jalebis that you eat, this is Indian culture, right? This is not the Western culture where people deep fry items. We do that. And when we deep fry, the imports are higher because we do not produce them. What we produce is rice and wheat and lopsided production. This is the reason that you see MSP has been increased in some of the other products. Soybean MSP, the purple color is, pink color is mustard and blue is soybean, right? So the MSP in mustard has increased, but soybean has not increased as much. There has been an increase all the years, but not as much. And the major importers of these major imports of these products are from palm oil, Malaysia and Indonesia. Palm oil is not original cultivation, not indigenous to Malaysia, Indonesia, Southeast Asia. It is indigenous to Africa, right? It was planted by the imperial countries when they came to these Southeast Asian destinations. Soybean, Argentina, Brazil, sunflower, Ukraine and Russia. We import 70% plus of sunflower oil from these countries, Ukraine and Russia. And because of this reason, because of this inflation that is happening and the kind of crisis Ukraine is going through, now we have started to diversify our sunflower imports from Argentina. But the prices will rise because there is more demand, the production will be less. So food inflation, oil inflation, direct inflation, right? Direct inflation. And this is what is going to increase the fiscal deficit. How will we be able to cope up with all this? This is not about economy. This is about management of the crisis. This is what is the first update about. So I remember my economy teacher used to always tell, during the times of an economic crisis, this is a great time for a student to study, right? So and to understand the realities, right? Looming danger worldwide and in India. So the GDP is also not rising at that particular proportion, and then we see the inflation around the whole world. These are the times when the government and RBI have to look at a joint strategy of what to do. RBI is primarily mandated to look at the inflation. So this is the reason that MPC, Monetary Planning Committee, they decide that the inflation must be between 2 to 6%, right? 4% plus minus 2%. When the inflation is lesser than this or inflation is higher than this, then they start regulating or expanding the economy. Now is this time when they said that they will be taking a accommodative stance. They will not be printing more money. However, they will look forward to expansion of economy because of stagnation in economy. So now inflation is also happening. Along with that, there is a forced inflation because of war-like conditions around the whole world, right? And this is not the first time that we are seeing an issue like this. This has happened during many times of crisis. 1973 oil crisis, financial crisis, those times when there is a lopsided development, lopsided presence of money in some sectors of economy, they will shoot up inflation. On the other hand, jobs will not be there and growth will not be there in many of these sectors. So this has not been seen for the first time, and the people who are at the marginalized sections, they are the ones who face the maximum brunt of it. So women population, children, marginalized sections, differently abled people in social groups. And if you see in economic groups, people who are in informal sector of employment, people who are in semi urban fringes areas, those are the ones who will face maximum brunt. If you look sector wise, then possibly agriculture will bear maximum, then industry sector, then service sector. Resilience of the sector is also important. Resilience, if the sector are more resilient, then they will not face these kind of issues. For example, the service sector driven by computers, gadgets, they can be work from anywhere. But then service sector economy, which is dependent on tourism, which is dependent on transportation of people, that will definitely get impacted, right? This is what we have discussed here, right? And this is the time. All right, one more component to it. Petrol and diesel prices in India right now, they are stagnant, right? They have not, it is just 95.5 in Delhi, right? Despite the oil prices shooting from 80 to 140, India is still importing. Yeah, India is still importing. We are still using. Nobody has curbed their movement, right? The issue here is that as the elections results will be out, just tomorrow itself, we will start seeing some differences, right? So this is one impact. But then if we are trying to still control the oil prices, government will have to decrease taxation on petrol and diesel. And if they do decrease taxation, there will be lesser coverage of income, right? So 40 lakh, the 22 lakh crore that we had thought we would be able to correct, right? Indirect taxes, or they will not be covered as much, right? So another issue, fiscal deficit will be high. Current account deficit will be high because of excessive imports, but collection of taxes also will be low because we are trying to ensure that these debt burden is not shifted to the people, right? Lower demand will also disincentivize businesses. So big problem for the economy. Central banks usually have to fight inflation or slow growth. All right, that's true. RBI in that case will look towards raising interest rates to tackle inflation. This is the only thing left, raising interest rates so that market has less money, but then this will also compromise the growth of the nation. All right. In the last MPC, the repo rate was fixed. It was not shifted, despite thoughts that they would be shifting. But possibly US market will shift. The US Federal Reserve will shift or decrease, increase the interest rate. Then India will follow after that. The world market will follow what USA does. All right. The second update is on Building Construction Environment Management Regulations 2022. Before getting in, we should understand what happens around the country. Whenever we get into plotting and creation of a building at any places, ideally the place is mapped first, right? The land area is allocated, and two things are done before anything: the presence of electricity and the presence of road. As electricity and roads are made present there, the plotting area, it is available for people to be purchased. In fact, even before that, but the prices rise right after construction of roads and construction of these electricity poles and delivery of electricity, right? This is where the government has said that right now when you start the construction, you will have to ensure a minimum green coverage in these areas as well. So 10% of the area of the particular plot will have to be utilized for tree plantation. If the area is more than I think that was 4,000 meters, we'll just cover that particular part. So 10% of the area must be planted with green plants in case the area of the plot is more than a specific limit. In case the area is more than a specific limit, they must have that particular limit. They must have water recharge facility, right? Water recharge. They must have sewer management system. Not only that, ways for making this plot more sustainable must also be looked at. For example, they look at a dual water system in these places. So one example of dual water system is that the brown water discharge, which can actually be recycled again and again, that must be utilized for planting, for watering the plants, for kitchen purposes, for purposes in your toilets, for flushes. This is what it must be utilized for. On the other hand, another tap water should be available, potable water should be available for kitchen purposes and drinking purposes. So these are some of the inputs that have been given. At least 10% of the plot area under tree cover, and make rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge facilities, wastewater treatment, reapply topsoil. Yes, in case the topsoil has to be removed for some kind of work, only 10 centimeter of topsoil must be removed, and this must be preserved and kept somewhere, and after that it must be reapplied to the ground. It takes years and years, hundreds of years, for a small a small part of the soil also to build up. A very small fragment, 10 centimeter to build up, will take years and years. And only in a matter of small time we remove this topsoil. This is very, very rich soil, right? Humus content, minerals, they are available here. So the government said that you must reapply the topsoil again. Okay, good, very good initiative. So this is what has been declared in these rules, right? Wetland construction, in wetland there will be no construction, and for a place with a bigger area, solid waste also should be managed at these places. So these are the building construction environment management regulations by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. All right. So 10% green cover for every plot, right? Yes, with a built up area of 5,000 square meters or more. All right. At least 10% of the plot area should have tree cover. Sealing of the topsoil if used, right? They must be brought back. Maximum depth of, what I know is it's 10 centimeter. I had read it myself. All right. Then 100% wastewater treatment capacities, groundwater extraction, dual plumbing system. What a word to use. Start using these words. Dual plumbing systems must be applied. And this should be applicable for all urban areas. It is, right? Right, solid waste management. This is the update. And third party audit. Yes, audit also must happen at the regular intervals so that we must understand that, you know, the work is progressing. The third update is on green channel for health schemes. Whenever government gets into any scheme, the scheme gets initiated, the procurement of item also happens, or the requisite service was also taken by the government for a specific purpose, but then the payment is not made on time. This delays the whole channel. Payment has to be made. If not today, then tomorrow. My mother's salary, it was blocked for a lot of time just because government, the state government, and then its funds with the district were not available. So arrear had to be issued to her. Interest also was given by the government on that, only because funds were not available with the state government and the requisite institution UGC before that. But then who faced the problem? Government and the people, but the money was actually paid later. Similarly, MNRAGS payments, right? You yourself saw the payments, MNREGS payments, you yourself saw that many payments were curtailed and restricted. The funds were restricted, but then when the government is making people work, it must pay on time. Similarly, procurement of items by MSMEs, government has mandated a portal specifically for MSME, TREADS portal for MSME payments. Now, the government says that we will ensure that when you are part of the Jan Arogya Yojana, JAY, we will ensure that we pay timely to the empaneled hospitals, right? We will not delay the payments. When the people have already availed the services, 50% of the amount will be immediately allocated, or 50% of the amount that was billed. If it is less than 5 lakh rupees, it will be immediately billed to the hospitals, empaneled hospitals. Why delay this? This is why this a new green initiative has played its important role. So looking back into these particular schemes, the scheme under which Jan Arogya Yojana, JAY, and another important scheme which is on Health and Wellness Center, they both are a part of what is the name of that scheme? Can somebody tell me the name of the scheme? Prime Minister's, Pradhan Mantri. What is the name of the scheme in which Health and Wellness Center and Jan Arogya Yojana are a part of? Anyhow, Health and Wellness Center. Can you tell me the name of the scheme? Health and Wellness Center is infrastructure development. I've told this. And this is institutional progress, institutionalizing of the insurance for marginalized sections. So Jan Arogya Yojana is for 10 crore families into 5 persons per family, around 50 crore of the population, with which would be selected through the socio-economic census data. This has been envisaged. So timely payments for hospitals, this is what has been called for by the government itself. So good initiative. Yesterday also we studied one of the very good initiatives, right? So premium payment initiatives, right? Ayushman Bharat. Thank you. Ayushman Bharat scheme, flagship program for health and wellness in the country. This is the update here. Green channel payment introduced by the National Health Authority. cashless and paperless annual health services benefits. So earlier, there are many schemes in which people make the payment, and after that, the authorities or people with whom we have gotten insurance, they pay to us. Now we have had cashless payment. Now we have had paperless payment. The payment will happen in advance. We will not have to pay anything. But then, if the government is going to pay this on time or not, that has been the question. Government will have automatically release of the claim amount, 50% of it, and rest of the 50% in some time after the agency is clear that yes, this amount had to be released, right? This will increase the participation of hospitals under Jan Arogya Yojana. Cross subsidization treatment improves working capital of the hospitals. All right, good enough. What are the questions or inputs here? Let me see. Vivek, sir, whether today's gazette uploaded or not, please have a look. It must be getting uploaded right now. They will also put the PDF after that. Yeah, I understood. Amlan says, मैं polity पढ़ा दूंगा. Amlan, Professor Deepak Dhar selected for Boltzmann medal. Yes, absolutely. Adhyay, hi Adhyay. Gazette will get uploaded. It's there with me. If it is there with me, it should be there with you as well. It will be there with you. Not to worry about it. Experts say that, Adhyay, welcome. Please join in the answer writing as well. Experts say that prices may increase up to rupees 20 to 30. Okay, petrol prices. I think the expert amongst us is Amlan himself. Wane says, today Putin told that if sanctions remain there, Russia will stop natural gas, then crude. Yes, it is not today, it is yesterday. Yesterday Putin said that if you stop the... So another update here is that USA has stopped. They said we will not participate in Putin's imposing of war, and we will stop any kind of import of oil, Russian oil. But what about EU, European economy? Germany has said this is the daily bread and butter of people. I had clearly shown the graph in which European Union was one of the largest importers of petroleum products, gaseous products from Russia. European Union. And Germany amongst them is the major recipient of fuel. And in case they have to forcefully stop the fuel import, then how would these economies survive? These are advanced economies. We are dealing with high levels of inflation and then high levels of growth. That is still fine because we are rocketing ahead. That is the reason that world provides us FDIs and finances for growth. But the advanced economies grow at a very, very slow pace. My sister is in USA. The annual increment in their salary, is how much? Make a guess. This much. 2%, 1%, 1.5%, 3%. If it is 10%, you would have done something exceptionally rewarding, right? But then in India, you see, 10% or 8% growth rate seems to be all right. Yeah, because this is the rate of the inflation in the country, right? That is the reason. So yes, but the European economy is that it is tough for us to impose these sanctions on Russia. On the other hand, USA says that we will have some ways in which we will, in the long term, we will try and make European economies less dependent on Russia for fuel purposes. Okay, all right, we'll see what it is. Hima says, but sir, due to palm tree cultivation, Indonesia lost huge amount of biodiversity with deforestation rate of 25%, highest in the world. Yes, dear, it has happened, Hima. Not only that, the monkeys, I had explained this, who would survive on the tropical rainforest of Indonesia and Malaysia, they would not be able to survive on palm trees. No, it is like, chane ki jhaad, no? There is no, it doesn't have that strong stem or strong dali on which or twigs where the monkeys can stay. So biodiversity loss was there. It was not natural, and this is the reason that many people in India also opposed when Northeast was given the scheme of intensifying the palm oil, palm production here in India. There were rebels in India also. There were protests in India also. So, but then we are utilizing palm because it is cheaper. Palm has got some issues also. It has got greater productivity, but the time in which the cultivation happened, that is far more than the regular sunflower and the mustard oil. So palm has got its own share of advantages and issues. For the same reason, this was asked as a question in your main examination, mineral oil. And for the same reason, this was asked as a question in pre-examination as well, right? If palm is native to Southeast Asia or not. So see, relevant questions. So people have two thoughts, but then this is what government has gone ahead with, because we are still utilizing palm oil. A lot of water is wasted by RO water purification plants. Yes. See, Ashish, actually, you know, the level to which water is wasted when we drink our RO water at homes, it is to the tune of 80%. 8 units of water is wasted to generate 2 units of water for us to drink. And there will be far more efficiency in those devices which have 60% or 55% of waste generation of water. Imagine this. Right. So this will be far more efficient, but then imagine more than half of the water still getting wasted, right? So that is the reason that we also have this, biotic ways of treatment of water. Thank you for Ayushman Bharat, Kriti, Hima, Tiyasha, Vivek, Netra. E-rupee could benefit here. Okay. Dr. Kim says by 2030, EU said they will get rid of Russian oil. Okay. Okay, we will see what they will be using. Will they be using solar power plants just like we will be too? Let's see. In my state, because rubber plantation, monkey habitat is reducing. See, Amlan is saying that already. Hello, Harold, welcome. All right, I don't know who puts these links and what is contained in these links. Getting back to this day in history, Jhaverchand Kalidas Meghani, a gentleman from Gujarat, and he was given the title of Rashtriya Shair by Mahatma Gandhi. This is what reminds me of one shairi for you people, if you permit, right? The shairi goes like this. It's in Hindi. I will be able to translate, I hope, in English. कौन कहता है कि आसमान में सुराख नहीं हो सकते हैं? कौन कहता है कि आसमान में सुराख नहीं हो सकते हैं? जरा एक बार तबीयत से पत्थर उछाल के देखो तो यारो, right? If you want translation, I will do that. Anybody, please put down the comments. I will translate it. All right. So this gentleman, designated as Rashtriya Shair, was a nationalist, poet, inspirer, sociologist. This is his. This is the day on which he passed away. Rashtriya Shair by Gandhi ji. All right, from Gujarat. Changing nature of warfare. We will understand this feature news in totality. A lot of things to be covered in this beautifully covered feature news. We will also cover it in a way that you understand the article in holistic manner. Image of the day on Pal-Dadhvav massacre. All right. If you saw the Republic Day parade, the massacre was depicted through the revolution of the Bhils in Gujarat. How many years back? Exactly 100 years back. The first part and the last part of the tableau, this is Gujarat tableau in our 2022 Republic Day parade. 100 years of this particular event, right? So becomes very significant. In fact, if you remember, we had covered one of the events from Bihar, which was said to be the second most dreadful massacre committed by Britishers after Jallianwala Bagh. If you remember that name, please type it out here. We had covered that the last month. And now this particular massacre which had happened, this had happened 3 years after Jallianwala Bagh. Jallianwala Bagh in 1919, this happened in 1922, and this is said to have killed people to the tune of 3 times more than Jallianwala Bagh. But this massacre was not, publicized openly. Britishers ensured that, the publicity was not outreach for it. But then it still came to light. There are stories that complete two wells in which there's water, it was full of people, dead people, because Britishers, they opened fire at the people protesting against Britishers. So rent payment, all those things were the causes of this particular protest. Do remember Pal-Dadhvav massacre, and do remember these events which form 100 years, 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, they are the favorites of UPSC. So this movement, Eki movement, initiated by Moti Lal Tejawat, he was the leader. He didn't die in this event, but then this is, the paying some homage to this particular event, calling it a massacre bigger than Jallianwala Bagh. All right, nearly 1,000 tribal fell to the bullets, and while others jumped into 2 wells. All right, but then see, the exact number of people who got massacred in these events, it is not known, right? Exact, somebody says 100, somebody says thousands, right? So only in comparison, but then still it is claimed that this massacre was even bigger than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. 1922, please remember. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ashish, Vakram, Preeti. Oh, good one. Thank you. If you got, thank you, Pragyan Hima. I didn't realize I would get so much of appreciation on this. It makes ozone hole. What, by the way, what is the layer of atmosphere at which ozone hole is located? Thank you, Kriti Pooja. Yes, Sabarkantha massacre. Yes, Tarapur Shahid Divas. Good. People revising. Great. Very good. See, these are the events in news. 1932, 90 years of it. Again. So be aware of it. 34 freedom fighters. All right, good. Going to terms and concepts. The first one is side channel attack. What is a side channel attack? Before we get into side channel attack, let me tell you what the news itself mentioned here. These attacks aim to extract sensitive information like cryptographic keys, proprietary machine learning models, and parameters by measuring things like time information, power consumption, and electromagnetic leaks of a system, right? One simple example that was present itself is, suppose this is a garden and somebody is watering the plants here. Now, if I want to know that the owner of the person is actually watering the plants or not, either I put a camera and I actually see that the person is watering the plant. This is one way to understand what is happening here. The other way is side channel attack. Through this, I want to know if this particular area has got green cover or not, or it started to become brown because of lesser availability of water. Not only this, I'd also see what is the electricity consumption of this particular place. What is the groundwater level, water level at this particular place? What is the cost or the prices that one pays for the power and the water consumption in this particular place? These are side channel attacks through which I will gain access to information, not directly but indirectly, right? These kind of attacks, side channel attacks, happen with computer systems also. The person will not directly hack my system. The person will not directly be able to access or gain access to the important vital data, but they will be able to impose side channel attacks in my system. How? Through knowing what is the power consumption, what is the time in which I am consuming power, timing also, right? Power consumption, timing information, or knowing the kind of electromagnetic leaks of a system, right? So through various ways they will be able to know, and now when they are aware of these information, then they will be imposing specific kind of attacks on my system, right? So extract sensitive information, right? And through this they will be able to impose attacks. So this is called as side channel attack, right? Why is it in news? Is because Indian researchers, a couple of IITians and IISc graduates, they have been able to build a low energy security chip to prevent side channel attacks on Internet of Things devices, right? So one chip placed on a device and it will enable that these side channel attacks are prevented. All right, this is why it is in the news. So you must know what is side channel attack. Somebody says in a pre-exam question, what is side channel attack related to computer, Internet of Things, or a device placed in a machine, or whatever it is, you know it. This is the answer. Boltzmann medal, right? Amlan updated. Deepak Dhar, physicist from Indian Institute of Science Education Research, Pune, has been selected for this award. This award is given to people who are professing physics to the level of excellence, and this is awarded to people who have not been given a Nobel Prize beforehand, or a Nobel Prize beforehand. Yes, but this is true that people who have gotten Boltzmann award, they later get nominated for Nobel Prize as well. This was started in the year 1975, and the person who got it in the year got a Nobel Prize in 1982 or 83 as well, right? So this is an update. Deepak Dhar, first time an Indian person has got the Boltzmann medal, right? And what has it gotten this for? Statistical physics. He's got this for statistical physics, right? It is given only once to a person, and on the condition that the person has not won the Nobel Prize. What has he got this award for? I think, let me read this out. And I think Amlan will be able to explain what this means. He has been chosen for this award for his seminal contributions in the field of statistical physics, including exact solutions of self-organized critically models, interfacial growth, universal long-time relaxations in disordered magnetic systems, exact solutions in percolation and cluster counting problems, and definition of spectral dimensions of fractal according to the website of C3 Commission. आखिर कहना क्या चाहते हो Amlan? Huh? Statistical mathematics, that's it. Nothing more. General understanding, general awareness. SAMARTH Initiative. Now, under this initiative, there has been a special promotion drive to have 20% reservation for skill development of women. Right? Whenever we look at skill development, if women also become important stakeholders, they will be able to develop capacity for developing businesses for themselves, right? So more than 20% of MSME business delegations sent to domestic international exhibitions under for marketing, assistance, all that. Yeah. So what is important is to know that we need to have skill empowerment for women, and this initiative is going to help 20% of seats for women. Nizamuddin Markaz. Okay. All right. So this is a, this is a place for the Jamaat, Tablighi Jamaat. Jamaat is where people collect to be able to, the congregation, a religious congregation is Jamaat. And Tablighi movement is the one where people come and they share their learnings about Islam, and then they are able to preach it amongst their own community, right? To be able to reform the religion from within, to teach them the right things of the religion, right? All right. This is why it was in news. 3 editorials, good ones today. 2 editorials are really good. Stratosphere, thank you. Okay. We have a John Cena also amongst us now. All right, 3 editorials, very good editorials for today. One is navigating economic uncertainties caused by Ukraine war. We discussed a part of this. This editorial talks about the lowering of excise duty. In case we do this, fiscal deficit will arise, right? This will also put pressure on the interest rates, right? Not only that, disruptions in supply chain will happen, right? This is where they say that some solutions can be looked at. For example, the government must take a real-time stock of the disruptions. Where are the disruptions happening? This is one thing. The second one should be buy bond during these times. These are the safer instruments. If you can't invest in share market, invest in bond market, loan market, because loans will always be refunded with the actual amount. The third one is investment of people through schemes like Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. This is a yojana in which parents can invest for their daughters. They can invest some amount per month, and the daughters will be able to extract this amount when they grow up of a particular age. Not only that, the government also puts in a specific amount along with the individual. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, good scheme, right? And then the listing of LIC, right? If that can go give some money to the government because of disinvestment, it will be good for economy. But then my question is, if you are investing, if you are listing LIC right now, it will not give the best rewards at this time. The scale to which subscription happens, that will be dependent on the market. Market is not very ripe during these times. So this is the update on economy. The second editorial is on women in film industry. It says that they'll be years, it will take 100+ years for the women to have gender parity with men. We discussed this previously. And the same thing is in the case of the film industry as well in India, right? So few points mentioned here to state that there is less gender parity in film industry of India. One of the point says that there is a lack of commitment amongst people to have gender parity. Second, it says there is no grievance redressal process at all. The system is completely opaque. The film industry employs a lot of people. However, there is less grievance redressal process. There is a deep-seated patriarchy and chauvinism, favoritism, right? Favoritism, family associations, those are the ones which are given more strength, right? So this is the update here. What is required is to have a solution in this sector as well, just like the other sectors of economy. All right. Are movies a reflection of the society, or is society a reflection of the movies? Which way? And this was a question asked in the UPSC examination. And when we look at movies and society, we must look at film industry in totality as well. Is film industry reflection of Indian society, or Indian society is the one which is taking shape because of the film industry, right? Filmmaking, film industry, both of them complex questions asked in UPSC examination. The third editorial is an interesting one. It talks of arms control, which are not happening during the times of this increased nuclear risks. Right. It was the year of 1994 when an agreement was signed between three economies in Central Asia, along with the other major stakeholders of the NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. This agreement was called as Budapest Memorandum. This is where three countries, Ukraine, Kazakhstan and Belarus, these three countries said that they will be giving up their nuclear arsenal. Before all these 15 economies, they got separated in the year 1991. These three places, Ukraine, Kazakhstan and Belarus, they had technology, they had resources, they had finances, they had factories, they had all the ways in which nuclear capabilities were present in USSR. And it was tough for them to give up, especially Ukraine. But then they were assured, they asked for assurance that our integrity, our unity, our interdependence must be preserved. And European Union should be available, USA should be available, Russia itself signed on this pact and said, yes, we will be available. But then this treaty was broken in a way. Why? 2014, Russia attacked a part of Ukraine, Crimea. Crimea was a part of Russia a long time back, around 200 years back. It was given to Ukraine, and then it was, since all of them were part of USSR, it was not considered as a valuable asset. But during these times when Ukraine says we'll become part of European Union, this is where Russia said we'll have to do something. So they annexed Crimea first. And while they annexed Crimea, this is what the world says. Russia says we did not annex it. It is the Crimean people who said through referendum that they want to get away from Ukraine. So we didn't do anything. But on the other hand, there have been messages all around that it was Russia who planned the complete separation of Crimea, right? So Russia says that we did not break the Budapest Memorandum. It was just that people said this, right? And this was a declaration. Other countries say that this was only a declaration because of which we are not able to act, right? So it was not a binding treaty between other countries. So this is another thing. Western powers themselves are saying we don't feel that we need to intervene here. Russia has clearly said that if you interfere in this war, if you interfere in our oil business, if you interfere in Ukraine by imposing the no-fly zone, then you see the action against you. And you know that there is another country who talks on the similar lines. It is China. It says you name the word Taiwan and then you will see what we do to you, right? So China imposed sanctions, unilateral sanctions on Lithuania, one of the European economies. None of the countries said anything apart from European Union appealing at World Trade Organization, because they all do trade with China, right? They have humongous demands from China. So on the similar lines, Russia, Ukraine lines, there is a relationship, China and Taiwan, weaponization of trade, all that happens, right? Multiple ways of handling this. So when NPT was signed, and when these three countries did have resources, they gave up their resources so that they were assured non-aggression and security assurance. They were not given this security. And learning from this has come translated to all the other economies. For example, Japan. Although Shinzo Abe, the ex-prime minister of Japan, he initiated a debate that Japan should start having these nuclear weapons, but the prime minister says no, not now. We have still not finalized on this. This is Japan. On the other hand, South Korea also says, you have us, USA, please have us also in your extended nuclear treaties, so that if there is any attack against us, you prevent us those attacks. Similarly, Taiwan and Australia, both of them have started building nuclear powered submarines, right? So this is, as the prospects of arms control wane, prospects of arm control is going to only decrease, the rise of nuclear risks, right? So this is what is happening around the whole world. There's a high alert around the whole of all the nations. In fact, one more important of this editorial, it clearly mentions the issue between North Korea and USA. If you remember, when Trump was in power and then we had Mr. King, we still have him in North Korea, there would be a debate and the headlines of the newspapers would be like, I have a bigger, button on my button of nuclear weapon on my shelf, and somebody says that I will bomb you and you are an old man, all that. So the visionaries, the leaders of the country speaking that language, and that only because they possess nuclear weapon. Only because they possess nuclear weapon is this happening. So people also speculate, was it a mistake by Ukraine to have given up nuclear weapons during 1994 or not? But then learning from this lesson, people want to associate more with these countries. So this is the reason that India is saving itself well from China, because India has nuclear weapons. This is the reason that India-Pakistan war also does not get escalated, because both of them possess nuclear weapons. To understand more, you must know India's nuclear policy. We have covered this in a feature news. Search this nuclear policy, Edukemy on YouTube, you'll find the video. All right. Now, if you like this initiative enough, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Case study of today is on biker safety. This is a couple from south of India, from Karnataka, and this is where years back their daughter, she passed away because of a road accident, just because they were poor and they could not afford helmets. This accident led to her death, and they vouched that they would be, that though they are workers, physical laborers, but then husband and wife, they ensured that they follow the commitment of distributing free helmets, good quality helmets, to all the people who are on the roads, and safe helmets for those people who are not able to afford these helmets. They have been able to distribute more than 500 helmets, and they do it twice a year. One of the days is when it is the birthday of their daughter, and the other time is during these times, I think, women empowerment. It was not mentioned, which was the second time they distributed, but then this is and they spend all of their savings on this in remembrance of their daughter. This is beautiful. What an initiative, right? When I look at these kind of initiatives, I imagine only one thing. Let us dedicate ourselves to one cause, and just be dedicated to it. It will get fulfilled. It will. At least we will be spending and focusing ourselves on this. This is what these people are doing. And another cause that I look at is women. I want to show that particular thing right here. Okay, I'll show that image in the next feature news, right? Feature news discussion there. You'll be able to see. Right now, all is there for you is this particular quote: for the good of many, for the happiness of many, out of compassion for the whole world. Gautam Buddha. For the good of many, for the happiness of many, out of the compassion for the whole world, we will operate. All right. Stone cutters, yet look at the kind of vision that they have for the world. All right. So if you like this initiative, share some love. Hello Abhinav, Hare Krishna. All right. What else is here? Bani says, okay. The government was planning to postpone the LIC IPO. What else is the option? They want to have an IPO which is oversubscribed 100 and 1,000 times. 1,000 is far, more than what is expected. But then, if subscription happens at a bigger rate, the profit of the person who is the owner of that company, that is the government, LIC in this case, they will receive more money, right? And LIC will be the biggest IPO that ever released in the country. Amnan says, "Isme mera expertise nahi." Okay. Okay, Hima says, when I hear John Cena, there's always the sound effect that followed. Okay. Ukraine has nearly 1,300 nuclear warheads at that time. Yeah, that time. Yes, that time Ukraine had a lot of nuclear warheads. They had a lot of weapons at that time. But then Ukraine was a part of USSR right then, right? All of these were a part of the Soviet Union. They would operate unitedly. But then later on, there was a lot of negotiation, Sam Dam Dan Bhed, right? Through coercion, through tactics, all the countries, not just Russia, USA, European economies, France, Britain, all of them said, please give up your weapons. And they did. And nobody is coming to their rescue. Now, lately, Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky has also said that he begged for membership of European Union. But now he has retreated. He said, fine, you don't give us membership, it's fine. So, and now he's also started to accept Russia's terms. Russia had quite a few terms. Russia had one of the important terms saying that you will have to recognize the independence of these places, right? You will have to, give up your demands on Crimea, and slowly and steadily, these are the, Ukraine is coming to terms to it, as simple as that, because there is nobody coming to the rescue, right? So this is the update. All right. Kriti says Stalin had settled large numbers of ethnic Russians in Crimea, and yes, that is also there. There was a lot of settlement of Russian population in East European Ukrainian region. North Korea is starting its nuclear experiments all the time around the year, right? So military state is what you'd call a country like that, right? So let's meet in the other discussion, that is for the future news. Interesting discussion for you people today, right? So thank you for participating. I will see you in the other discussion immediately.